we started last night, actually. I was like, Ben, when are we watching these? And he was like, yeah, we'll do it tonight. And I was like, okay, what time? And we're like, yeah, well, tonight.
Yeah, tonight.
And I was like, Ben, it's 10 o'clock. Where are you?
It wasn't 10 o'clock. It was 9 o'clock.
Fine. But I was still like, where is he? He finally showed up and we watched 2 episodes of Goosebumps.
Yes.
1 episode of Are You Afraid in the Dark?
Yes.
And 1 episode of R.L. Steiner.
Yes.
So let's start with Goosebumps, as that's the most
That's the classic.
The episode we watched first was called Say Cheese and Die.
Which is a classic one, and it's also a classic book.
It's the first episode of Say Cheese and Die, specifically.
Yes.
There's 2.
Well, the other one is Say Cheese and Die Again.
Yeah, this is Season 1, Episode 15. Originally aired February 9th, 1996.
But it's more notably due to the fact that the child actor is Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, similar to how Night of the Living Dummy 3 had Anakin's voice, not voice actor, Anakin's actor in there. I thought that was pretty great. This was less of an amazing revolution.
Well, Ryan Gosling is like...
He's a good actor.
He's a good actor.
Maybe. So, let's read this blurb on the Goosebumps wiki. It says blurb. Let me do my movie announcer voice. Let's see if this will work. Greg is having fun taking pictures with the cool instant camera he found in the Cosman's spooky old house until he realizes that the pictures which develop are not what he shot. Instead, they portray horrible disasters involving whoever or whatever is in them. The scariest part is that the disasters start to come true. Can this camera predict the future, or does it actually cause the bad things to happen? The only one who knows the truth is Spidey, the strange man that seems to be stalking him. Can Greg return the camera to its rightful owner before the next awful prediction comes true, or will his fate be forever frozen in film? How was that?
I thought it was pretty good.
Pretty good?
It was amazing.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm getting a thumbs up from our producers.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So this episode was very strange.
I think it's one of the better episodes that we've seen.
I would say it's one of the worst, actually.
You think so?
I didn't like it. Really...
You liked any of the other ones?
I liked the dummy episodes. Those were just stupid
You
funny.
didn't like the horror, the haunted mask?
The haunted mask one I didn't like. For me, all of these fall apart with the characters.
Well,
because
this one was really bad.
They're really lame, and they just do stupid things. And I know this is made for children, and it was in the 90s, but, like, I just really didn't like the characters in this one. Ryan Gosling's character, what was his name? Greg?
I guess it's...
Greg Banks.
They're blank slate characters,
They're all
Jackson.
Blank slate. Ryan Gosling's character, and then he has his best friend. His name is Doug, but he goes by Bird for some reason.
Well, who's the girl? The
and
other
then
friend?
Sherry.
Sherry.
So Greg, Doug, and Sherry are all stalking this homeless man.
You mean Bird?
Bird and Sherry are all stalking this homeless man.
Yes.
They call Spidey because he has long legs.
Oh, yeah, that's why I referenced that he looked like you when he was running away.
Yeah. He did this, like, really weird antelope sprint, and I was like, okay.
That's very much what Jackson would do.
Sorry, I'm fast.
Yeah, like the clown at the mall.
Sorry, I'm fast and have a stride.
But your stride consists of you bending your knees and going like, nee. If you have seen Meet the Robinsons,
Oh.
He kind of reminds me of the villain from that.
Goop. Goob. That's what it was. Anyway, this poor man is just living in a rundown warehouse or something, and they go inside his warehouse, and like, who would live like this? And I'm like, he's homeless.
I don't even, like, it doesn't even, like, look all that bad.
Yeah, he's got, like, a workbench and a TV and all sorts of stuff.
It's just a basement.
And then they find this weird toastery-looking camera. Like, it literally looks like a toaster on its side with all sorts of lights and beebles on it.
I said it looks kind of like a Batman, like, gadget.
Yeah, they're like, what is this? And they're like, it looks like a camera. And I'm like, no, it doesn't.
It looks like a battery.
It really does not.
Mixed with a camera.
It looks like someone took the 50s Batmobile and compressed it in a microwave. That's what it is.
I don't know. It just looked odd.
And they're like, and they did what anyone would do in the presence of finding a camera. Hey, take my picture. Anytime anyone sees this camera, they're like, hey, take my picture.
Well, that's how it was in the 90s.
I still think that's weird. Maybe it's just me and my unphotogenic self.
You don't like your picture taken.
I don't, but everyone anytime he had the camera. Like, oh, take my picture right now. Do it right now. Oh, here's an action shot. Huh.
It's more weird that they forced him to take a picture.
You're like, take the
That's more
picture.
that it
And he's
was
like,
weird.
no, I don't want to. And I'm like, do it, coward. What? You're not gonna take my picture, you freaking baby? You hate yourself? You don't want to take a picture of me?
They didn't go that far.
You little little son of a...
FCC. FCC.
I didn't say anything. Anyway.
Yeah.
So the one kid, Bird, goes up onto the stair railing. He's like, hey, take a picture of me. He's like, well, I don't know, Bird. He's like, do it,
And then he took a
cat.
picture. Oh,
And
yeah.
then
He did not
He
say
takes
that.
a picture of him. And then he looks at the developed film because it's a Polaroid. And it's him falling off the railing. Something like falling through the railing. And he's like, uh-oh. That's weird. And then the kid falls through the railing. And he's like, whoa,
No,
that's
you didn't-
spooky. Oh,
no.
no, he looked at it after the
Yeah,
fact.
it was after he fell through the railing.
So the kid falls through the railing immediately after the picture's taken. Then he looks at it. He's like, whoa, that's weird.
It was like an action shot of him falling off, even though, like, he was not, like, the perspective of that
Yeah,
would be the perspective of the camera
Yeah.
that you're watching rather than the actual camera of how he was pointing at the character.
It was really weird.
It was very odd.
They had a picture of, like, his brother was like, as soon as he walked home with the camera that he didn't realize he stole, he was like, oh no, I didn't even realize I had this brick of a camera in my hands. They would go home
Probably
and
weighed 10 pounds.
yeah, his dad got a new car and they're checking out his dad's car. And he's like, oh, take a picture with me in the car.
Well, the worst part is, like, if it was like a hot rod, that would make more sense.
Yeah, it was just a really lame looking
It's just
dad
like-
car.
It looks like
A dad car?
I don't know. It was just like,
it would be like Jay's car. Like if
no,
it was
not
like,
even. It was smaller than Jay's car van.
It's not like my car.
I wasn't gonna say that.
Okay. It looks like
Same shape.
No,
Flatter. It was a flatter car.
it's way flatter. Not as
flat
round.
gray car.
It's
Nothing.
not as cool as mine.
The mom was like, ooh, I've always wanted to drive in a car with some muscle in it. And I'm like, that's not a muscle car.
It's just like a sedan. It's just
You couldn't have
normal.
afforded. Did you have someone get like a cool car at least?
It just looks like an Impala.
It was lame.
That's all it
Anyway, they
was.
take a picture with it, and he looks at the film, and he's like, oh no, the front of the car is completely totaled. And the brother's like, hey, let me see it. And he's like, no, I don't want to show you.
Well, why would it matter? That's what I
don't
didn't
know.
get.
He
I
never
didn't-
ever showed these pictures to anyone out of fear
Well, the issue
for
is
whatever
like
reason.
the issue is like I understand that you might have been fearful about like them getting into the car,
Yeah,
but I'm being like, well,
but showing them the picture. is
showing them the picture
nothing.
shouldn't be a fearful thing.
He tried to take a picture of his female friend later, and then she just wasn't in it, and she's like, "You missed me." I'm like, "No, that's
The
like
tree is
literally
quite
the
there."
exact angle. There's no way you could honestly think he missed you." And then she goes missing, like as soon as he leaves, like she's abducted or something, and she's like gone.
It was just odd.
And then the police just start to harass him in his house. He's like, "Where were you today?" He's like, "I don't know. I was at my friend's house." He's like, "Oh yeah, have you seen her since?" "No, I thought she was at her house." "Oh yeah, you'd think that, wouldn't you? What's in your pocket?" A picture of who? When was it taken? Let me see the picture.
Yeah, they were very.
Yeah.
They did a lot of extreme close-ups and like extreme cuts
Yeah.
on these police officers.
It was
Like,
really awkward.
they
to
would say
watch.
like one line and then it would just get closer and closer.
"You need to tell us," and
Yeah.
it was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, it was that bad.
The
He, he was wearing sunglasses too.
yeah, it was just I don't know.
He looked like fucking. He looked like Neo.
He looked like Neo.
Yeah,
He
Neo.
did look like Neo. That now I think
The
about
Matrix.
it. Anyway, the best part was the climax easily because they go back to the Spidey's lair, and they're like, "We gotta return the camera." It's just him and Sherry because Bird is too much of a coward to go.
Yeah, Bird didn't.
And they go down the stairs. He's like, "I guess he's not here." And then they turn around and he's right there. And he's like, "It's my invention. Give me back my invention." And they're like, "Okay, we're sorry." And he's like, "This camera predicts the future or something." And they're like, "Yeah, we figured that out." He's like, "Well, it's mine." And like, "Okay." And then they try to leave. And he's like, "You can't leave. You know too much." And they're like, "We're sorry." And he's like, "I'm sorry. I must do this." And then he tries to grab the kid. He grabs him by like the shoulders. And then they shake for like 2 seconds while Sherry grabs the camera. Ryan Gosling shoves Spidey off of him.
Yeah.
And then Sherry takes his picture. He screams in agony and then disappears from the material plane.
And then like a few seconds later, we saw his like soul in the camera.
He's like, "Release me! Release me!" And it's really strange.
I don't understand why his soul got captured into the camera.
Everyone else is like, oh, here's something that will happen in the future.
Well, they ripped up. Do you say like he ripped up her picture? And
Oh,
then
yeah,
she
when
came back.
She got abducted or whatever. He ripped up her picture out of frustration.
So doesn't that mean if, like, let's say he ripped up the picture of the car wouldn't be totaled anymore?
I don't know. Like, it was so unclear as to
Is
what
that how
happened.
that would work?
It was just a strange episode.
It just didn't make sense.
I 3 out of 10. Not a fan.
So we have another episode.
Wait, give your rating on that.
My
episode.
rating? I don't know. I watched that one a lot as a kid. I feel like that's a
Yeah,
5 out of 10.
that was not one of my favorites.
It's not great.
Not good.
I think the sequel is better.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we could watch it for next.
it makes more sense than this one.
Okay, so next one was Chillology Part 1, whatever that means.
Oh,
was
there's
called-
3 parts.
It's all about this like little town, I guess, right?
Yes.
Okay, it's called Squeal of Fortune.
So we only watched the first part
Yeah.
because the first part is the most interesting part. I do like the other 2 parts. It's just Jackson didn't like it.
I didn't like the first part. It was really weird. Basically, this girl is a entrepreneur at like age 12.
She's not 12. She's like 14.
Her name's Jessica.
Yeah.
And is there a blurb here? Can I read the blurb in my movie voice? Oh, there's a whole thing of goofs. There's no blurb, but there's goofs.
Like, what kind of goofs can we find?
So I guess she's like walking around town and she goes to a garage sale and then these kids are like, I don't have any baseball cards, and then she like has this whole scene where she like pries the baseball cards from him for like really cheap, and then she like goes home to her house and watches the stock market and like just sits there like with all this animated bar of like animated graph of like 2 bars going up and down just like to represent how the stock market works. And then her brother's like, hey, our parents' anniversary is coming up. I want to get them this nice picture frame. Will you give me some money to help me get it? And she's like, I could give you a loan at 9% interest. And he's like, dude, you're the worst. And she's like, sorry. And then he walks away.
I mean, really, what he should have said is like, we should go. You would put your name on it, and we can go halvesies.
Yeah, it was.
That probably should have been the.
Yeah, but even then, like,
Even
she
then,
was
that's-
such a jerk to
Yeah,
him.
she was really.
Yeah, well, the
mean.
current market closed at 6% today, and I never want to.
You have to remember, she had all these stock sheets of like
yeah, she had
the stock
like
market.
the stock thing like stapled to the freaking wall.
She
It
had this
was-
futuristic computer with all like the stock market
yeah, and then
constantly updating.
her mom came into the room and was like, before you go back to your financial empire, I need you to sweep out the attic. And she's like, that's not fair. And then immediately cuts to her in the attic. It was really weird.
Well, it was weird because they already cut to her in the attic, but then the mother was still talking.
Yeah.
So
it was just
odd.
some weird transitions. But she was in the attic, sweeping around, and this attic looked straight up abandoned. Like no one had been in there for years.
Well, that's what most attics are. You don't really.
Yeah,
tend to go up
but it
into your
was
attic.
really strange because out of the blue, for whatever reason, she was like, go sweep the attic. It was just like there was no reasoning to it. And all the stuff in there was like it wasn't like she was trying to get to anything or there was a reason for her
Like everything was pretty organized.
to
It'd be
sweep
different.
it out. It was like, go sweep the attic. Your brother did last week or something.
It'd
I
be
don't know.
different if like she was like, go clean out.
It was
the
like,
attic,
go MacGuffin right
Yeah,
now, please.
basically.
So she goes upstairs, and there's this miniature town that is just sitting in the middle of the attic, just completely, uncovered, plain as day right there. And she's like, well, I've never seen this before. What is this? And then she calls her mom, and she's like, oh, I've never seen it before either. Must have belonged to the previous owners. And then she was like, can I have it? And she's like, sure. And then Jessica's like, I'm going to sell it. It's worth something. And her mom's like, oh, boy, you and your stocks.
You and your stacks.
So I don't know if that was like hinting at like it just apparated out of nowhere or if it really was there all this time, but it was really strange.
Well, the city is called Carlsville.
Yeah.
correct?
It's called Carlsville. It's like
And
a
we've already, like,
collector's edition.
Before the episode started, we had like a little like flash of the guy who Carl, who is the mayor of Carlsville.
There's some creepy guy in a trench coat and a hat.
Well-
He's like, my name's Carl.
Well, whenever we see Carl like in the real world from the toy perspective, he looks really plasticky.
Yeah, he's gross.
I like him in that because that looks really creepy and that looked kind of cool.
Yeah. So she's like, I'm going to sell it. And then she starts doing research, and then her phone rings. And she's like, oh, but it's not her phone. And then she looks at the miniature town, and it's the phone booth that is ringing. So she tries to answer the phone in the phone booth, and then she gets sucked into the little town. And she's like, where am I? And then Carl's like, hey, you're in my town, Carlsville. And she's like, why? He's like, because I want someone to help me make some money in my town. He's like, oh, I like business. And he's like, yeah, I know. You're going to run a lemonade stand. And she's like, why? I don't want to run a lemonade stand. And he's like, well, start small, and you'll work your way up. And she's like, okay. And so she goes to this lemonade stand, and there's some kid there that's helping her run the stand. Oh. Yep, there it is.
Well, the photo has come.
Thanks, Mom. I appreciate it. I don't want to ever see us again. Anyway, she starts selling the lemonade, and Carl's like, no matter what happens, don't raise the price, 'cause I said so.
Yes.
And then he walks away. So she starts selling lemonade for $1. And then all these people come up to the lemonade stand and like, wow, this lemonade's really good. Only $1? That's real cheap. That's a steal. I'll take like 6 more. And then she's like, it's $2 a cup. And he's like, wow, really? That's still really cheap. And the kid's like, hey, no, you're not supposed to raise the price. She's like, oh, well. And then she starts raising the price more and more. And then she creates like a false shortage by dumping out half of like the lemonade and then saying like, there's only 1 cup left. And, just doing standard business practices,
Well,
quite frankly.
Those, like some of them, those aren't standard.
That last
business
one was pretty
practices.
unethical of like
That-
her to say
yeah.
there was none left. But the rest of like raising the prices to meet demand.
Well, she was also like, she was putting more water into the lemonade to
like
dilute
watering
it.
it down.
Yeah, diluting it and stuff.
Yeah, that's scummy. But like she got gypped because she raised the prices or something.
Well, it was more because he literally told her not to do that.
And then she did.
Because it would look bad on him because his name is also on the business.
Yeah, it was just weird how they did it.
So it makes sense. It makes total sense.
It does, but you have to take like a few steps back and like, oh.
You just got to accept that this is the reality that they're in.
Yeah. The suspension of the belief was a bit tricky on this one.
I mean, you have to accept that there's a miniature town.
Yeah, that Carl runs
that
it.
Carl runs, that she can go into.
But wait, there's more.
There's more.
So they're like, you were lying to us and squeezing us for money. And then she's like, I'm sorry. And then Carl's like, get the pig. And then she turns into a pig. And it's really disgusting.
Yes.
And then she runs around town. Stop sending pictures of me, Mother. I don't want to have to look at these. I don't want other people to look at these.
Ben, come closer. I can't see.
Okay, I will.
Anyway,
No,
she
I can
turns
just-
into a pig.
I can just send it to you.
And she runs around town trying to get away from these people.
Yes.
And they're like, get the pig. We want bacon. And it's like, oh, God, they're going to eat her. And then she gets the phone booth and calls home. And then her brother answers. And she's like, wow, I did it. I escaped. And then she throws the town onto the sidewalk and leaves it there. And then some other kids take it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the setup for episode 2. It's weird. It's real weird.
It is a very odd episode, but I do believe it's a very good episode.
There's a lot of
You don't
goofs.
think so?
No.
I like the effects of like the actual pig, because the pig looked disgusting.
Apparently, when people are walking by cars,
She
stop
got
laughing at my baby
Jackson, you
pictures.
used to be so cute.
I know. I don't know what happened.
what happened?
I'm trying to talk about Goosebumps, and you guys are mocking my baby pictures. This is not what Nerd is the Word is about.
Oh!
Stop.
We got
Did
more
she
pictures.
What else
What?
did she say?
What is happening?
Okay, I'll send it to you, Mrs. I'll send you Kayla's number, Mrs. DiCarlo.
Stop. This is my freaking show. I'm being roasted on it, too.
We're just admiring how cute you used to be.
So then we watched Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yes. How did you feel about this?
This was different because I've never seen this show before. We watched the episode called The Tale of Station 109.1 because it was a radio episode, and we're like, hey, we do that. That makes sense. And this one had also Ryan Gosling in it.
No, it had Gilbert Godfrey.
Nope. Had Ryan Gosling.
Okay.
As you said, as Gilbert Godfrey appeared on the screen, you said, hey, it's Ryan Gosling.
You know what you called Gilbert Godfrey? Mel Gibson.
Well,
So you can't like lie to me.
You literally pointed at this man's face and said, that's Ryan Gosling.
Because we literally just watched
As he was going, hey, don't tap on the window. You're like, yep, that's Ryan Gosling.
Yep.
As a side note, Ryan Gosling is actually in this episode.
He is not.
As Jamie Leary.
Is he actually?
Yeah.
I thought that was Macaulay Culkin's.
Mm-hmm. That's his brother.
Oh.
Like the big brother guy.
Okay.
But yeah, basically, it's the story of this kid who, for whatever reason, is just obsessed with death. He's like, can you imagine what it's like to be buried alive?
Did you guys give the rating on the last show that you talked about?
Oh,
Oh.
no, I didn't like that one.
I like that one. That's
4
a
out of
7
10.
out of 10.
Thank you for producing, producer, instead
You're
of laughing
so
at me.
welcome.
Instead of
Appreciate
laughing
you
at
doing your job, as I do mine. Anyway,
I don't know what that's meant to mean.
He's doing his
they're
job. you are.
doing. He's like, hey, you can you imagine what it's like to be buried alive? And then he puts a beetle in a jar. And he's like, I wonder how long you'll survive in there.
It was a cricket, I thought.
yeah.
It was some kind of bug.
And then his brother's like, my brother's acting really weird. I should prank him to get him out of his stink. So then for whatever reason, a hearse just pulls up to the mechanic lot they work at, and he locks him in the back of the hearse.
Mm-hmm.
And the kid's like, oh, cool, a hearse. And he lays down in the back feeling lean. He's like, this is so cool. I wish I were dead. And then his brother plugs in the car battery, and like all the lights start flashing and the car honks and the radio dials freaks out. He's like, whoa, wow, that's real spooky. And then his brother's like, haha, I got you. And he starts to walk away. But then the radio dial turns all the way to the end, like the very last possible station, which is 109.1.
Yeah, 0.1.
And then Gilbert Godfrey, goes, welcome to death. If you have lost the way home, we are here to help you find it. And then the kid's like, oh, that's a weird radio station.
That's a good one.
What? What now?
I censored the other one.
We're doing a show.
I think this helps out the show.
Could you imagine if this is the show we submit to IBS, like to be
Yeah.
best talk show? It's just me trying to desperately talk about Goosebumps and Are You Afraid of the Dark, only to be undercut by you laughing at baby pictures of me.
It's gonna be up on the video.
On the video?
Yeah, that I'm gonna.
No,
You
you don't have my permission to put my baby
I'm
pictures
sorry.
online.
Can
You
I give your
clown.
mom's permission?
No,
I
that's
think his mom's permission is enough. She's
No.
probably the one that took the
Yeah.
photos.
no, no,
You just need the permission of the person who took
No.
the photos, right? That's how that
Not
works.
Yeah,
cool.
I thought so.
no.
All right, let's continue with Are You Afraid of the Dark?
So as soon as he gets out of the hearse, all
Yes.
these old people are like, "Can you show me the way home?"
No, it was only the one guy. It was the one guy at first.
The one guy's like, "Can you show me the way home?" And he's like, "No."
Because it was the dead guy that was in the hearse.
And he does some research, and he's like, what was that radio station? It was really interesting. And he finds
I
out
got a
that they're...
text from an unknown number saying, I give you permission, so I'm going to assume that's Jackson's
That's
mom.
Jackson's mother.
Okay.
I really don't want any part of this anymore. No, I don't want it.
Hunter said you were a cute baby. Okay,
So he does some research
Yes.
online and finds out that the station number doesn't exist.
yes,
And he
'cause they
figures out
don't
that the
exist.
last known location of the station number happens to be in town. So he goes there, and all these old people are sitting on a bench with slap bracelets on their wrist, and then you just hear some numbers being called over the thing, over the intercom.
by Gilbert Godfrey.
By Gilbert Godfrey. And then they look at their wrist, and then one of them stands up and goes away. And then he walks to the front of the line, and he's like, hey, is this the radio station? And Gilbert Godfrey's like, yeah, it's the radio station. And then he slaps a bracelet on him, and he's like, now you're dead. He's like, oh, no, I'm not. And he goes away. and his brother doesn't hear him at all, and he's like, "Oh no, I am dead."
Yes.
And he tries to convince Gilbert Godfrey that this was a mistake. He's not actually
He's not actually dead.
dead.
Yes.
It was a weird episode.
Uh,
It was pretty funny. I liked Gilbert Godfrey in it.
I thought overall it was really fun.
It was pretty good, actually.
So what would you rank that? A 7 out of 10? I think it's a 7.
I'd
out
say
of
it's
10.
better than the other things we watched. Well, at least the Goosebumps episode.
Well, it makes sense.
There's a whole plot synopsis, like several paragraphs on
Well,
the
okay.
Are You Afraid of a Dark wiki, which
Yeah.
seems to be much more competent than the Goosebumps wiki, to be honest.
Are You Afraid of the Dark is a beloved show.
Yeah.
It's Goosebumps is a weirdly beloved show in a different light.
It says in the trivia that this was Ryan Gosling's first role in a TV show or movie.
Mm.
I don't know if that's accurate or not, because he was in, the other thing,
Well,
Goosebumps.
he might have done it before Goosebumps, because Goosebumps and Are You Afraid
when
of the
this
Dark
aired.
aired at the same time.
This was in 1995.
What was the
Say
other
Cheese
one?
and Die. I
He
don't know.
looked older in Say Cheese and Die.
Yeah?
Yeah. At least I thought.
Let me check. You look up Say Cheese and Die, and I'll figure out this next
Yeah,
thing.
I'll just look it.
But yeah, it was a good episode. Definitely more interesting than the Goosebumps episodes I've seen, at least.
I mean, you like Slappy.
Slappy's funny. We'll probably have to watch more of this Are You Afraid of the Dark to go
I
into
thought
it
you would
more,
like it.
because I haven't. We did like a whole episode last year exclusively on Goosebumps. Maybe we could do one on Are You Afraid of the Dark,
Yeah.
because that seems like there's some stuff to work with there.
The part of the show that I walked into was pretty neat, and I enjoyed it.
You enjoyed it?
Yeah.
Good.
It was pretty solid. I'd watch it again.
All right.
Excuse my sinuses.
Excuse them.
Anyway, the last thing we're going to talk about and then fill time for the last 20 minutes for, somehow,
Well, okay.
is R.L. Stein's The Haunting Hour.
There's a lot to talk about in this one. There's a lot to actually discuss.
This show came out in the 2010s.
which is something some of us have seen.
I'd never heard of this show.
I've heard about it.
I heard of it, but I thought it aired like after Goosebumps, like immediately, like in
I
the
thought it was,
early
like-
2000s.
Yeah, I thought it was a lot earlier than when I thought it came out. Because what I watched as a child was the movie Don't Think About It,
Yeah.
which predates the show,
Yeah.
which was a kind of like a pilot episode for this entire series.
Yeah.
And I really liked that as a child.
This show was
Mhm.
actually really interesting to watch. It looked pretty solid.
It looked good.
It was shot pretty competently, I'd say, at least.
Hmm.
The advertisements were scarier than the show.
We'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah, that's something.
But
else to
this is
discuss.
episode 8 of season 2. It's called Mascot, or The Mascot.
Now, the only reason I picked this episode out is due to the
The
Philly,
picture.
well, the Phillies mascot.
The Gritty?
Gritty, yes.
Oh, you think this reminds you of
It
Gritty?
reminds me of Gritty. For people who do not know who Gritty is, look up Gritty.
Yeah, so
He is terrifying.
For those who don't know, you should just know.
It's terrifying. And look it
So,
up. It's terrifying.
here's the summary that is on the Haunting Hour wiki. Willie and his friend Drake hate their school mascot, Big Yellow, and they decide to replace him with something a bit more conventional, like a brown wolf. But after the brown wolf mascot disappears, Willie and Drake must break into the school after hours in order to find him, and soon discover the big secret behind Big Yellow. This is really interesting.
Yeah.
So basically what happens is that these two kids are at the
Or in
a
high
basketball game or
Yes.
something in the high school, and they're like, all right, our team sucks. Here's my theory that your team is as good as your mascot. See, look, they have a bulldog. Like, they're fighting the blue bulldogs or something.
Well, it
They
was
have,
a
like,
real bulldog.
an actual
too.
bulldog.
Yeah, it
I'm
was
like,
a
who doesn't
real-
love bulldogs? It was a nice bulldog. And then here comes our guy, and they're like, okay, everybody, giving up for Big Yellow. And then this 8 foot tall, 8 foot,
Yeah, he looked pretty tall.
at least 7 feet tall, big yellow fat thing with really long arms and this disgusting head and horrible eyes just walks out.
Yeah, it doesn't look like something you would ever want as your mascot.
Yeah, it's really horrible. And
Like Gritty.
Gritty's pretty great, honestly. He's become a very welcome member of the team.
Is he really?
Yes, I follow him on Twitter.
How's Gritty
He's
been
pretty
doing?
good.
I think Gritty's pretty terrifying.
He's the mascot of the news team here.
No.
Yeah, he's on the wallpaper. Of the
Why
news
did you
desk.
do that?
It's just the way it is.
It-
Anyway,
no.
Big Yellow just comes out. He just steps around in circles, and he looks horrible. And they're like, we should just replace him. If we get 50 signatures, we can, replace him outright. And they get their signatures, whatever.
We got to get
we got to go.
They got to get a teacher approval.
Yeah, they do. So during the teacher approval process, they're like, you need to tell the previous mascot that he's getting canned. I'm like, okay. So they talk to the coach, and the coach is like, I don't really do mascot stuff. You got to go to the team manager. And then the team manager's like, well, I didn't appoint him. It was the last team manager that did it. But
He's disappeared.
yeah, he's gone. So I don't know. Check out his locker room. He's probably in the locker room. So they go down to the basement, which is as soon as they go down in the basement, I just started laughing because it's a really gray corridor with the flashing fluorescent bulbs. It's like, this is great.
Well, the thing is that I've been in, like, my school particularly have those hallways that
Yeah,
are like that.
the country club I worked at, the whole basement was like that, and it was disgusting. But anyway, they go down there, and then they turn the corner, and they see this boarded-up gym door with all sorts of yellow light pouring out of it.
Yeah, it was like a dead end, kind of.
They knock on the door, no one answers, and then they're like, okay, we'll just write him a note. They write him the note, and they slide it on the door, and it gets yanked out, and like, oh, okay. And like, nothing personal, buddy. And they just hear just grumbling from behind the door.
Yeah.
And they have auditions for the mascot.
Mm-hmm.
And all these guys show up except, a bunch of people show up, and they all suck.
Yeah, some of them really sucked.
Except for this one kid who shows up in a brown wolf costume, and he danced like a beast.
At least he should have been like a yellow wolf or something.
Yeah, I thought it was weird that it was just a brown wolf that showed up.
They should have.
Everyone else was yellow.
Everyone else was yellow.
Even
Throw
Big
him in a
Yellow's
yellow
yellow.
shirt.
Yeah, something. I don't know.
It-
So they shows up and he does a good job, and then they're like, okay, that's probably who we want to go with. And then Big Yellow shows up, and they're like, we're looking for a new mascot, buddy. And it's like, well, it says here we have to give everyone a fair chance. And then Big Yellow throws down his
boombox.
boombox.
It looked pretty good. It looked like a pretty good.
It was
boombox.
really just horrible, though, because he has these really long arms, and whenever he needs to pick up something, he puts his arm over it and picks it up
Well-
with, like, the inside of his elbow.
Well, because his
Because the hands don't retract.
Well, it's
They
because
don't
how
have,
the
like, opposable
how the
fingers.
mascot works. Is
Yeah.
You're obviously no humans that size.
Yeah,
So you're meant to be a foot or two shorter.
yeah.
So your arms will be significantly.
It was just really uncomfortable to watch, and I was like, ugh.
So every time he has to like use his armpit to pick up anything.
It was almost like you had stilts for arms.
Yeah, it was really bad.
Mhm.
Anyway, it was meant to be unsettling, and
Yeah.
it did that.
That was the goal.
So he starts doing his really bad performance, and halfway through, they just turn it off, and he just looks at them. He takes his boombox and just drags his big
Claws.
freaking nails across the
Yeah.
table.
He had claws.
So they're like, yeah, we did it. And then it shows Wolfie walking home, and then Big Yellow's behind him, and he waves, and he's like, oh, okay. And then Wolfie starts walking again, and Big Yellow just ganks him.
Yeah, and, like it gets cut. It cuts.
It
to,
cuts. So
to
then
Willie.
Willie, he wakes up the next morning, and they godfather Wolfie's head into the
And-
sheets.
Yes.
He's like, oh, my God. And then,
He got it underneath
Yeah.
the sheets too, like by his feet. So I'm like, how did they get it underneath?
how did Big Yellow get there?
That's what I mean.
Anyway, they're like, oh, this is really bad. We should tell someone. And like, no, they'll pin it on us, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, Willie goes to go confront Big Yellow, and Drake doesn't because he doesn't believe it or something.
Well, he didn't believe it, and then he doesn't want to deal with.
Drake
that.
backs out because he's convinced that Willie has lost his sanity.
I would believe it at that point.
So Willie goes into this locker room. He goes inside it, actually, because he opens a door.
Yeah.
And then he hears Big Yellow coming, and he hides behind some barrels in a really conspicuous spot, to the viewer at least. And then Big Yellow comes in, looks around, and then just starts dancing to his like little boombox music, and then he leaves, and then locks the door behind him.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, good, he's out. And then mustard gas or some sort of yellow gas
Do you
just
think
starts
he
filling
did
the
that?
room. Well, yeah, he had
I
to.
don't know.
I don't know how canonically that's possible for Big Yellow to do that.
It's part of his powers, dude.
He has the
Big
ability to
Yellow.
summon mustard gas
Yeah.
Powers
in the
of
air
Big
conditioning.
Yellow.
Big
Yeah.
Yellow needs big yellow
Snaps
gas.
his fingers and then it just appears,
Mm-hmm.
flooding. from the vents.
acid fills the room. Yeah, it was real weird. And then Willie has to break the window down to,
Now I'm
Are you
looking at our
around?
vents. Yeah, I'm looking at our vents to make sure.
So Willie breaks out, and then he goes to confront Big Yellow in the gym. He's like, I'm not afraid of you. And Big Yellow's just sitting there. Well, the suit of Big Yellow, at least, is just sitting in
Yeah.
the bleachers. And he starts smacking it, and nothing happens. And he takes the helmet off, and there's no one in there. He's
It's like a nub.
yeah, he's like, come at me, you coward. And then the big mask of Big Yellow just starts to look at him. And it's implied that, the suit is alive itself. And it's not just some guy in a costume. And you're like, uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
So then Drake wakes up, and he's like, oh, my buddy.
Because he's been messaging him all night.
I gotta go help my friend. And
Really?
he's
They
nowhere
should've-
to be found.
They should have just said his phone died or something, and then,
Yeah, because he was just blasting GTA or something
Or
and
he-
fell asleep.
or he like turned off his phone.
Hmm.
I don't know. That would have been better.
And then he goes to the basketball game that night, and he tries to call him, and he's like, I can't pick up the phone. Please, I'm sorry. And then they're like, okay, everybody, here comes Big Yellow. And then Big Yellow comes out, and then he finally starts to hear Willie's phone ring. He's like, oh, he's here. And he's looking around the bleachers, and he doesn't hear him. And then Big Yellow just starts stomping over to the camera, and then you hear the ringing from inside
Yeah.
Big Yellow. And then
Yeah.
it smash cuts to the inside of Big Yellow, this horrible, darkly
Yeah.
lit chamber in which Wolfie and Willie are just standing there drenched in all sorts of sinew and stuff like, answer the phone, Drake. Can you hear me? And then it ends.
Yes. I was assuming Willie was going to become Big Yellow.
Yeah.
That would've made
something.
more
It
sense,
was
like-
really terrifying.
Like the
It's
idea
like, oh my
that Big
God.
Yellow ate. Well, I'm assuming he also ate the previous
Yeah, the team manager.
team manager because that was also implied.
It was screwed up.
That was a good
It
one.
was screwed up.
That was a good episode.
That was a good episode. I was very actually unnerved by the whole thing. Probably the best of all the stuff we watched.
Okay, so we definitely need to watch more of that.
Definitely watch more of that. Jay recommended the ice cream episode or
Yes.
whatever.
I've written that down.
Okay, we'll watch some more of that. It'll be interesting. And the movie.
Yeah, I like the movie.
Don't
quite a bit.
don't think of it. Is it
Yeah.
good?
I liked it as a child.
Well, actually,
Like
there
I
was
did.
something we need to talk about that was scarier than even
Oh
Big Yellow.
yes, it was the scariest thing we've seen all night.
One of the commercials in between the Big Yellow Arlstein Haunting Hour episode. What was it for, Kayla?
Isaac Heating and Cooling.
Isaac Heating and Cooling.
Yes.
So the CEO of Isaac Heating and Cooling walks into frame. He's like, "Hi, I'm the man in charge." And then
He's
behind
selling
him
his thing.
is a van of Isaac Heating and Cooling,
the
and
big
there's
red van.
a driver in the front seat with this big, empty smile on his face.
And his empty,
Soulless eyes.
yeah, soulless.
And I'm like, "That's not a real man." He's, nope, not real. Nope, the fake man right there.
Well, I didn't believe you at first because I only saw
I
a
was
glimpse.
really uncomfortable as soon as
Well,
I saw him.
I didn't know if like you were just joking.
Yeah.
Or not.
And then it cuts away, and it's like, "Hi, I'm Sarah, and I'm in charge of making sure
Yeah,
your
like-
product is good." "Hi, I'm Justin, and I make sure you get the right price." And then it cuts back to him. He's like, "Hi, I'm in charge still. Buy our product."
But it's a
and-
different angle.
at
At
a
this
different
point.
angle, and the driver's still there.
But
and I'm
like-
like, look at him. He's not really. He's fake. And I was like really unnerved,
And I was just laughing.
and you were just laughing at me. And then it's like, here on Isaac Heating and Cooling, we're very, very, very dedicated to make sure you get the product you want. So buy it, please, because we want money from you, or
And
something.
then it cuts back.
And then it cuts back to the CO, and he's like, "So thanks for listening to us. Buy our stuff." And the driver is gone.
And we both pointed
And we both pointed
at
and
the same in
screamed,
unison.
"He's gone!"
And then the ad replayed.
It was honestly horrifying.
We laughed halfway through the next ad.
I was just crying laughing. It was like, it was bad news. It was real bad news. That was the scariest part.
I
of
thought
anything
I thought we
watched.
ended on a high note.
For sure. It was something.
At least it got better as it went along.
Yeah. I'd say it went chronologically from worst to best.
Yes.
Those episodes we watched, including this commercial. So next week, we will be here.
Yes.
You will not be, Kayla, correct?
Correct.
Because you're
I will
going
be-
home to see the family that
yes.
loves you.
Yes, because fall break.
And I will be here because I live 40 minutes away, and,
Yeah, and I only live like 40 minutes
I'm
away.
sure I'll go home and visit my mom and stuff and maybe go hang out for a bit, but I won't be gone for the whole weekend like some people.
I would like to leave on Wednesday, so it's not even it's the whole weekend plus some days.
Lame.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I need to
Ben and
see
I
my
will be
cat.
here Thursday night,
Yeah.
and we'll be talking about the Joker movie.
Yes, we will be.
Are we seeing that tonight?
Uh,
Are we seeing that? Well, we can't see it tonight.
no.
You can see it tomorrow.
Well, no.
Can't see it tomorrow.
We'll probably see it
Sunday.
Sunday.
Because tomorrow is Curse of Strahd.
Yes.
No,
Saturday.
Saturday is Curse of
So
Strahd.
we can't see it on Saturday.
And then Sunday we'll watch Joker.
Unless-
so we could talk about your adventure if you'd like, depending on how that goes. And then Curse of Strahd.
Yeah, unless we wanted to.
No, Joker. Jeez.
What?
I'm losing it.
Okay.
Okay. So Curse of Strahd Saturday, Joker Sunday. Here on Thursday, next week, Thursday. Mark
Half
your
of this
calendars.
doesn't matter to them. It's just
Yes.
Joker. It's just
We're
Joker.
going to see the Joker movie, and we're going to talk about the Joker movie.
And we're going to discuss other things, most likely.
The other half could be anything from Curse of Strahd. More Arlstein Haunting Hour.
Movie. I don't know.
Movie of unknown origin.
Of some choice. I don't know. It could. It's a prize. It's mystery hour.
Spooky month will continue, though.
It'll be spooky because we probably won't do anything. We'll just talk about Joker for 40 minutes.
Who knows? It might be another Venom episode where I'm just completely out of it and
better
just
be
emotionally
another-
destroyed.
It better be another Venom.
That's probably good we didn't record that episode at the time.
I really want.
It was
so
that was when we
upset.
were still on air. Remember when we were actually on the airwaves instead of the internet?
Yeah. Well, I liked.
I prefer this.
Well, I prefer this, but I liked that episode because we just.
It was
argued.
pretty bad.
We just argued.
I just imagined some poor sucker just like, oh, I wonder what's on 89.5,
And we just,
89.9,
88.9.
88.9.
you work here, Jackson.
I don't work. I don't care. I wonder what's on the college station. And then they flip
remember-
on and they just hear, it was so bad. Like, what was Eddie Brock even doing? Like, it was so bad, Ben. And you're like, it's not that bad. You just not, And like, but it was so bad.
But it was funny.
But it was funny, Jackson. But it was so bad. That's a recount of our Venom episode for those who
Well, you
missed
forgot
it.
about the time we actually had a screaming match about it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, like we screamed outside of the station.
Yeah, as soon as we left, we were just like, I can't believe that you actually think. But you've forgotten about Carnage. What do you mean? Came down in a bubble, bro.
Woody Harrelson, dude.
I'm hoping this Joker movie will be good.
I
There's
think
all
it
sorts
will
of
be.
warnings about it because people think there's going to be shootings in some
Well,
theaters.
due to
due
like
to
what
the-
happened.
Yeah,
with The
previous
Dark
thing.
Knight.
Warner Brothers had to issue a statement that they don't endorse gun violence.
No,
And I was like, oh, yeah,
Well,
I didn't think
'cause-
you did.
because the movie's not even playing in Aspen, which is the
Mhm.
original city where the shooting happened.
Yeah,
Which is understandable.
yeah.
I could definitely see.
They also, on a lighter note, had to release a statement saying that the Joker movie, which is rated R, is not for children.
Yeah.
So don't take your children to it.
Well, I mean, people took children to see
The Venom, and that was
which Venom
stupid.
is pretty scary.
But that wasn't even R.
Do you guys
technically.
remember the thing that Ryan Reynolds did that was like, hey, don't see this movie, and this is Santa Claus?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was funny.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting. I really hope this works out for us.
It'll be fun.
It should be fun.
It should be fun.
Are we driving out to Jamestown?
We could.
Okay.
Let me know when you're leaving, because I don't know when I'm going to be back.
Yeah.
Probably have to miss
Kayla,
it, nerd.
Kayla wants to see it, but I mean,
Kayla's going to Buffalo on Sunday, but Kayla wants to see
Why are
the
you going to
movie.
Buffalo?
Because I can.
I live there.
Well, do you want to come?
No.
Oh, okay. Going to the mall with some friends.
the mall.
Oh, I did
No.
want to plug my other show.
Yes, you should. plug the
We
other
actually
show.
did have this Dungeons and Dragons show. It actually worked
It
out.
actually worked.
It's
know?
called D&DVL because that's named after the station we are on and the game we play.
Yes.
It's really clever and I'm proud of it. Anyway, it's going to air this Monday
Yes.
from noon to 3 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you want to tune in to hear me Dungeon Master for 3 people who have played the game and 1 person who's never played before,
Yes.
it's pretty funny, actually.
Is it good?
I was a bit nervous, and I was like, this is going to be good for radio. There are a lot of good moments.
Okay.
And we made all sorts of wacky sound effects to
So-
play during the
So
show.
for people who could not see it live, where could they find
You
it?
can't see it
anywhere
live.
else?
I'm sure we'll have it on sort of YouTube or something. But
Okay.
as of right now, it's just the live broadcast. Also, if you're going to listen to High Noon Friday tomorrow, we'll
Mhm.
have a preview then for the episode on Monday.
Alright.
So tune in to High Noon Friday.
So how long are these episodes, Jackson?
The session we recorded was 2 hours and 45 minutes.
I'd imagine
but we
you're gonna
cut
cut
it
that down.
down to 2 hours and 20 minutes or something like that.
Okay.
So it's airs. The show time is technically noon to 3, but it'll probably just be 2 hours and then the rest just filler because it'll be over.
Well, because I wanted to ask because it's one of those shows that I think it would be hard to watch at a certain time, and I imagine if you guys had it on something, it would be much easier for people to come
for
back
sure.
to.
It's just kind of one of those things where we're like, just go.
Makes sense.
And yeah, because this was kind of like how we did our show. We just did it and then
Well, I
figured
mean,
out.
might as well. There's no point in not doing
Exactly. It will be recorded.
And
well,
it is
recorded,
it's still recorded.
and edited.
You'll find
Because we
plenty
don't do
of
it
time.
live. It's pre-recorded.
Yes.
So it will be posted at some point. If it does, I'll be sure to post something on our Instagram saying, "Hey, check out my show."
Well, what's your Instagram? You gotta say it on the show.
Oh, yeah. Let me say it. Because we have social media, in case you didn't know. Hang on. I'm getting there. I'm pulling it up on my phone. Real close. Nope, meme. There it is.
Why do you have
Our
that
Instagram.
many memes?
Our Instagram for the show
Yes.
is The Nerd is the Word Show. And our Twitter is _ Nerd is the Word
Yes, it is.
_
Yes.
So be sure to follow us. I post some things sometimes. I don't know if you do.
I
haven't
do
paid attention.
sometimes.
Okay, cool.
I mean, like, I post things on my own thing.
Mm-hmm.
So if anyone just wants to follow me.
If you want to follow Ben, go for it.
Yeah.
What's your Twitter?
I don't remember.
You don't know your own Twitter account?
I don't know. I just post things with my friend Hunter.
What about Hunter?
My friend Hunter.
Okay.
And then you don't do anything on there with me because
No.
you're not fun.
No, I don't really use Twitter for that kind of stuff.
My thing is at Coolio Ben.
Okay, if you want to follow Ben, do that.
Yeah.
Don't follow me because I just use it for other purposes like keeping up with Critical Role and other influencers I'm a fan of.
If you want to see funny memes, go on my. Follow me.
And don't forget about your guys' YouTube channel.
Yeah, what's our YouTube channel, Ben?
Nerd is the Word.
Yes.
Is that it?
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
just
that
what
was easy.
it's just what it's called. It's pretty easy to find. All of our branding is right there on the channel.
Wonderful. You'll see the great art we had commissioned, and
It's nice art. I like it a lot.
we'll get it done. So yeah, listen up. We're going to start ending the show now because I'm done. I'm done talking.
I think we were done like
We were done 10
five-
minutes ago.
yeah,
Are you
five
guys
or
ready?
10
Are you guys
minutes
ready?
ago.
Yeah,
It's
ready?
the
Okay.
outro.
Here come. Oh,
Oh, it's
What's
loud.
it?
My ears.
what a
Ears-
show we had. This was a fun one, I
Oh,
think.
Yeah. It's good times at Richmount High.
Ah, that's a funny reference I get.
Yeah. Willie!
What are you doing? Okay. Anyway, thanks for listening to the show, folks. I really appreciate it.
Oh, I thought.
Tune in next week, like I said, for Joker and whatever else we have planned. I've been Jackson DiCarlo.
I've been Ben.
Yeah,
Ben Anderson.
Yeah, you're on.
Well, I didn't know if my microphone was still.
And our producer.
Kayla Giles.
We'll see you next week, folks. Have a good one.